see the picture of you doing what? Sweating. You feel me? I'm like, he working out, right? Not the picture of, hey, E, I worked out today, right? And so what we're able to do at the end of the week, we're able to see how many times we worked out, whatever our goal was, we're able to measure it. And it was crazy. CJ walked in today and Moose said to CJ, man, it looked like you lost some weight, right? That is the evidence of him. I want to see the picture of you doing what? Sweating. You feel me? I'm like, he working out, right? Not the picture of, hey, E, I worked out today, right? And so what we're able to do at the end of the week, we're able to see how many times.
We're gonna go ahead and get right to it, Mac. The server's kind of messed up. I've been working on some stuff, but we're gonna try to get right to it, man. How's everything going, man?
What's going on, Jay? Man, everything's been good, man. I appreciate you having me tonight. Excited to get to talking.
No, absolutely. So you're going into year two, man. We got about 25 minutes, really less than that, but we're going into year two, going into training camp. How's your thought process with everything? You just, came off of a solid rookie season after being drafted or after being an undrafted free agent. What's the process or what's the thought going into that year two?
Yeah, so really excited going into year two. More importantly, I know what to expect. Last year was like getting thrown into the fire. You had no idea what to expect about the NFL. Now that I've been there, I kind of understand the ropes of the NFL a little bit. I'm super excited. The game slowed down a little bit for me, but still working hard every single day to just make sure I'm on my P's and Q's and getting my job done.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you obviously had a breakout game last year. So a lot of people was surprised, but that was something that was kind of expected from you. So talk us a little bit through that process before we kind of dive into really what we're here for, just your impact off the field. But talk us through that process, man. You went to Ohio State, one of the top programs, and then you got undrafted, was on a practice squad, then came out, had a big game, and you made your value known. So what was that process like mentally?
Yeah, no, going undrafted was difficult. Sitting through 7 rounds, not hearing your name get called. Some people can get really defeated, and for me, it was like a chip on my shoulder. I took mental notes and just went to work. I knew if I could work hard and I could put the work in, that it was only up to me to be able to end up on that field or not. So when I got to the Giants and was able to practice every single day, bust my butt off, the work showed, and it translated really well. So definitely had a good rookie year. Excited to do more, and really be able to put my foot down in the league.
Absolutely. And I think you have I don't even think you tapped into what you could do going into the league. So it's a lot more inside or internal things that we got to get up out of there to maximize that career. But let's just dive into what we hear about, man. One of the things that I'm real passionate about is athletes using their platforms to impact and affect change. And you obviously did something this past summer that I think, in my humble opinion, is going to be change the course of Fort Wayne when it comes to athletes actually doing something in the community beyond, a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. You did something and brought the community together. So talk to us about that, man. We want to know a little bit more about MackFest.
Yeah. So, more importantly, when it came to the MackFest, it really just started with a simple idea that me, Jalen, and Jesse came together, and I was like, "Hey guys, like, what's something that we can do now that we're all in the league? What's something that we can do and give back?" And I posed a question like, "Hey, I know we all love to bowl. Like, let's do something with bowling."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they were like, I'm with it, Austin. Like, you just take the reins and we'll be there. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, okay. So also got a chance to meet with Destiny Jackson, who just recently graduated and was a senior at the time in Fort Wayne. And they had her and Deuce Taylor. They had talked to me about a cool idea of doing like a basketball showcase in Fort Wayne. And you know, I'm like, ooh, this would be awesome, right? Indiana hoops, right? This could be something really special. You know, I'd love to get on board. That's exactly what I said. I'd love to get on board. And so it really came from, you know, people that wanted to give back. Wasn't just all my idea. We came together, created an awesome committee. The Mack Fest came from just marketing. It's all the marketing show, right? To get some cool names out. You know, I'm humbled to say that my name is on there, but it's for a bigger cause, right? Community engagement, bringing everybody together, but also have a little education piece to it. We collaborated with the Juneteenth Collaborative, and they had some beautiful events all going up to that Saturday Mack Fest event that really kind of tied in our culture, Juneteenth, and really it was really just a beautiful weekend. You know, Mack Fest was just really peaceful. You could feel the energy, and I had got a lot of, you know, great comments from it. But what's crazy is that we put that together in a month and a half.
I know.
So that's, you know, terrible timing for me. I wish we had more timing, but now it's just a show of what we can do and the opportunity now that we have a whole year to plan and be able to put things together.
Now, what was the feedback from it? Because I thought I came a little late and I thought it was awesome. What was the feedback for the Mack Fest? I mean, it was a lot of energy up in that mug when I got there.
Yeah, so like you said, a lot of energy. A lot of people said it was needed. It was needed in the community, and that, you know, it was just a great, just a great overall event. You know, there's a lot of things that we can get better at, but let's talk about the positives. You know, when it came to just the community engagement, the amount of people that came out. We had close to, I think, 2,000, maybe 3,000 people attend. And it was at McMillan Park, right on the south side of town. So, you know, big thanks to the community to come out and show their face and just show love and really support the high school hoopers, man. They put on a show. Like,
they did.
Big thanks to them, to the guys and the girls, man. They put on a show for everybody, and it was just awesome.
I know. Well, Rodney was the MVP. I mean, when I got there, it was like Rucker Park a little bit in Fort Wayne, so it was actually legit. But as an athlete, man, being able to make it to such a level and really, man, just fulfill your personal dreams as it relates to getting to that point, man, what is the feeling like to actually be able to give back beyond maybe what you would have if you didn't make it to the level that you are right now?
You know, it's nice to be here and in this position, knowing that I'm working this hard every single day to help my situation and my family out, right? And then be able to then take that time to take, you know, a few days, few hours to come back home and be able to put those events on and be around those kids, be around those people. It is just it fulfills my heart and my purpose. You know, being able, I'm from Fort Wayne. I grew up at McMillan. You know, my mom used to hand out lunches right there at the Parks and Rec. So to really go back there and be able to put that on, man, it was beautiful. And for me, I just want to be able to keep doing it every single year, if I'm in the league or not, right? Because this is something that needs to happen. And now that I'm at this platform, I have the access. I can bring more athletes in. I can bring more resources to the community, and it just helps. You know, now that we're here, we can start coming together. You know, me, Jalen, Jesse, I'm going to try and get more guys in the hoops like Deshaun Thomas, Malik Williams, who showed up as well. And just keep getting the guys who have made it, you know, hey, let's come together, let's work together, and let's give back to where we're from, you know, because it needs it. It needs the money, needs the resources, and they need to see us.
Now you're an athlete. That's what you do, but you also are doing things outside of that. Man, talk to us about. I know everybody remembers the comment where the news anchor or the lady who talked about shutting up and dribbling. And for you, it's the correlation is just shut up and catch the ball, shut up and run a route.
Right.
How does that make you feel as an athlete when you hear people speak on you just doing playing a sport and you just being really isolated to that sport, but you were a human before? How does that make you feel?
Oh, obviously, quite terrible. Frustrates. All the words you could think of. Um, but what's crazy is that we're more than just entertainers, right? I know for a lot of people we're just here to entertain, here to put on a show. But for a lot of people, man, we have thoughts, we have opinions, and we have an agenda that sometimes the things ain't wrong. A lot of us are leaders, right? We're leaders on our teams, and we excel at a high level, right? So when I come back to the community, or I want to be in the community, or I see things happening that's wrong in the community, man, you have to say something. And guys that people look up to and see all the time, it's easy for us to be able to get word out, or to be able to spread positivity to things that might be real negative. So for me, it's definitely frustrating. I think the narrative is changing, right? You see more athletes starting to use their platforms, and you start seeing more people speak up about certain situations, which is awesome. And I'm excited to keep having that same agenda for athletes continue to go as the years go by. You're unmuted. You're muted.
Correct. What makes you passionate to help outside the game? I mean, a lot of dudes, I mean, the reality is a lot of dudes or a lot of people who have aspirations to be pro athletes, they want to get to pro level, really just to make a lot of money. I mean, I believe that if money wasn't attached to playing the game, you'll see a drop off or a huge decrease in people playing the game. But I think that is something that people want to do because there's a lot of money attached to it. What makes you passionate to get to this point, or what started that passion to really say, man, look, I'm about to do everything I can to help this community?
Man, I'm from Fort Wayne. We're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. And if people don't know where Fort Wayne's at, it's a pretty small city in the northeast side of Indiana. And
Mm-hmm.
I came from nothing. I came from a situation where, struggled week to week. Food stamps to
Yeah.
unemployment. I understand, and I've been there. And I've seen the worst of the worst, right? And I see communities, and I've made friends that are on the north side, and have these other opportunities and this access. And for me, you know, I love to be able to help my friends and family be able to reach that same success,
Yeah.
right? Be able to create the right um, community engagement for people to be able to get in the right environments, and have the right access to be able to change their life and their perspective. A lot of it is just knowledge. A lot of it's just access. A lot of it's just, hey, this is the blueprint, right? Just follow
Mm-hmm.
it. And for me, especially now that I started to become somebody that was successful in just athletics, and somebody that people look up to, um, that is just, outside of being an athlete, that was just something that lit a fire in me, right? How can I do
Mm-hmm.
more um, for for my peers? How can I do more for the community? A lot of that started in high school with AWP, Athletes with Purpose. Having
Mm-hmm.
these, I forget what days it was, either Wednesday or I think Wednesday or Thursday. It was these, those nights,
Wednesday.
talks.
It was,
Wednesdays, right? Wednesday
yeah,
nights.
Wednesday.
Talks, and we really dive in. And as a high schooler, having those high intellectual conversations, man, it really
Mm-hmm.
just helped my development, my
Yeah.
maturity. And then when I got to the college, I saw it. I saw it was a complete eye-opening change where, there was no depth to a lot of athletes. It was just
Mm-hmm.
it was just football, right? It was
Yeah.
just their respective sport. That's when I had an opportunity in college to create an organization to help you know try and change that. That's when I took RAS, which Virgil Tharp from Fort Wayne started,
Mm-hmm.
redefining athletic standards. And kind of took that to Ohio State to try and give a little bit more depth in business development, education, or
Yeah.
just have that safe space like we would have on those Wednesdays to be able to come talk and open up to other athletes, which I think
Mm-hmm.
was just so needed. And they're still doing really well today. So now that I'm out of college, now that I have a little bit more time and resource,
Yeah.
that's when the MacFest and more opportunities are now in line for me, and that's something I really want to, keep that correlated to me.
What is community impact, or what is the success off the field look like to you? I mean, it's so many things that you can probably discuss, from raising enough or earning enough money to have capital to get in business, community impact. Like, what does success look like to you off the field? Because I think that all athletes, if they understood the power that they have, the platform that they have, they can affect change like crazy, like almost better than any segment or group of people, athletes, and then artists, but you happen to be an athlete aspect. So what does that success even look like to you?
Yeah, so I think, success can come in many different ways, right? So for me, I'll talk about the organization I started. If that organization was an idea brought to us from an advisor who was trying to push that agenda, that organization wouldn't have happened. What made that really unique was that it was guys like myself. It was guys like former captain Ohio State Buckeye Jordan Fuller. It was guys who
Yep.
really cared about giving back, and our voices mean something, right? Being especially at a PWI like Ohio State, when I was going into these meetings talking to Gene Smith and President Drake, they wanted to listen to us because it meant something to us. And as we would start to see this change, starting with Kaepernick, it was just this. What's the word I'm trying to think for? You could just start to see this change, and people start to want to listen to the things that we wanted to do. And if I could just, I don't think you can really write out what success means, right? For anybody, whatever you're passionate about, man, take that home with you and try and start something, or try and maybe you're passionate about reading, right? So maybe start a book club back home. Maybe you're passionate about I don't know. It could be anything. Maybe you never had a bike growing up, and so now you partner with somebody to be able to give out bikes, or maybe you're passionate about making sure everybody gets turkeys, right? Or so during Thanksgiving, you're out there passing out turkeys. Whatever it is, right? Just to show that you're here for your community. One of the biggest things is that I never wanted to do was that now when I haven't been able to be back in Fort Wayne consistently since I left from high school. So now that I'm not there, I want people to know that I'm still trying to come back and still trying to plant a flag in Fort Wayne and be known and be accessible, right? So whatever you're passionate about, or whatever you think represents you, and go back to your hometown and try and do anything you can, because that stuff means a lot. It means a lot, right? Just think about when you were a kid and how many little camps or how many opportunities you had to meet somebody famous or somebody that was elite or somebody that you looked up to. Those little interactions mean a lot for you, and it means a lot for the community.
Now that's all cool and everything. That's cool, but one of the things that you gotta help these children understand, and really the parents too as well. How do you have a desire and a passion outside the game, and how do you use the platform outside the game? But more importantly, how do you stand against the resistance that will come when you decide to stand up for something? Because we all know when you decide to stand up for something, there's going to be people on this side that disagree. There's going to be people on this side that agree. And then, although you're an athlete, which should be uniting people, you're going to have a split in groups that you actually are with, or you're trying to affect. So how do you go against the resistance, man? The resistance of standing up for something, because you've done it and you've been outspoken. And the reality is, if you know your mom, your dad, they're very passionate people. And so when they believe something, and Elisa is too. So all y'all, when you believe something, it's like, this is what I believe. I'm passionate about it. I'm gonna speak on it. I'm gonna stand on it. How do you develop that strength or that fortitude to stand on what you believe and use your platform to help and affect change?
Right. So I'll just start with this. Make sure whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're doing, isn't really hindering your performance. Because that's the first thing that they're going to attack, right? As soon as you start doing some stuff, or you start being different or stepping outside the box, go have a bad game. Go have a bad game and see how hey, you're doing too much, or they're going to try and change your agenda as much as possible. So make sure you're handling whatever respective sport you're doing. Make sure you're handling it and doing what you got to do on the field. Now, when it comes to whatever you believe in, for me, I made sure I got into a situation where I was well respected. I was somebody at Ohio State that people looked up to, who was a leader, who people just already knew my character. So when it came to that opportunity to say, hey, I'm about to stand for what I believe in and what I want to do, I don't care what anybody thinks. This is what's needed. I see this across multiple different universities, and I'm speaking on my time in college. I see that this is a need, And sometimes you just have to be that architect. You have to be that person to just get the ball rolling. And once the ball gets rolled, a lot of things and change can happen from that. So for me, I didn't care. Once I'm keeping
Yeah,
honest
we
with you,
know.
I didn't care. I said when the opportunity came where I was ready and in a position to be able to stand for what I believed in, I just roll with it, right? And you're
Yeah.
either gonna accept me or hate me, but at the end of the day, I feel like my message and my peace and my love for everybody will outweigh any of the hate, any of the the wrongdoing. And at the end of the day, man, whatever you do, and if it's giving back to the community, if it's anything positive, it's going to be noticed, and it's going to be, no matter how much hate you might be getting, it's going to be outweighed by the positive.
And you, Trill, and I know your decision on Ohio State wasn't solely on the culture, but you were aware of the culture, and it's a culture that exists in many different programs. From when you talk about players not having depth to what they stand for, it's just I'm going out here and I'm playing a game. You chose Ohio State, and some of the reason why you chose Ohio State was because the culture you wanted to impact in a positive way. And then you got there, established yourself, performed well, created RAS, and kind of change the dynamic of players or athletes doing something that matters beyond just playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about even having that thought process at age 18, because that's not a common thought process.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not common. I would just say it came a lot from my development in high school, and really trying to continuously develop as a person, as a human being, right? And as you start going through life, right, you start to gain friends, you start to gain a circle, and when you start seeing the people in your circle, and you start learning stuff that's going to help you outside of that, right? Sports is just one thing, but that's not who you are.
Yeah.
When you start understanding what your why is, what your purpose, your actual soul, and what you're supposed to do on this earth, a lot of that's not going to be your football, whatever respective sport that you play. And for me, I want to just be able to give that message and be able to help people around me as much as I can.
Yeah.
So that's really more than anything, because a whole person is a better football player, is a better basketball player than is if somebody that's just all one way. And it's your overall just a better human being. And that's what really matters, right? Just being able to um, create the right community with the right human beings and the right thinking overall.
So obviously you're about to get into um, this camp, man. Talk to us a little bit, man, because I just want to hear you say, man, what you plan to do this year. I mean, I know it's the unknown. You about to go and grind. Your mindset has always been, man, I'm about to come and I'm just gonna work extremely hard and let everything fall where they may fall. But man, you're a well established a player in terms of skill set. You're gonna do the dirty work. But man, what can we expect from you, man, this upcoming season? As you go through camp or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. This is the first year, right? Coming out of college, you really don't have a break. You go straight from your last game, which was my last game my senior year. I think it was December 27th. I believe I was on a plane to start training for the combine on January 3rd. So the turnaround was extremely fast, right? So um, this was the first year I was able to have a break and then really use a whole off season for what I want, for this upcoming season. I really kind of broke down my deficiencies, my body, and this is the best shape
Yeah.
I've ever been in. I'm talking about, Yo Murphy out here in Tampa, Florida, put together a great program, and then this is the best. This is the best I've felt in a long time. First time, last year was the first time that I had a healthy season, and this year. I'm feeling just as good and not even better. So going into this camp, my whole focus is to make sure they feel me on every single play. Be different. I like to use that motto. Just be different. That's from one of my receivers coaches at Ohio State, man, Coach Hartline. He uses that all the time. How can you be different? One of the ways I stood out last year was just by blocking my ass off.
Yeah.
And that's what got me on the field, honestly, right?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters, is giving you an opportunity And then when I had the opportunity to be receiver 3, you know, I had that explosive game against Washington. So, you know, going into this year, it's the same mindset. I'm going to, you know, kind of, you know, put my foot down, make sure that they feel me, make sure I'm, you know, just that guy that whenever I'm on the field, there's nothing to worry about. Austin's always going to be open. Austin's always going to be getting his job done. And that's all you need to do at the next level. Just make sure you get your job done and you can execute at a high level. So, you know, I'm not going to put any promises, any goals up. That's the biggest thing I'm going to say, you know, my expectations, honestly, because, you know, you really don't know, right? Especially at a receiver.
Yeah.
You could be open all day and not see one ball. So, you know, so for me, you know, just make sure that I bust my ass off, do what I need to do, and just be in the right position for success.
Now, speaking of being open, we got somebody, man, on the line. You already know who it is. We got an additional person with D. Eskridge in the building, man. What's up, D? How you doing?
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. Not much. On here with Mack, man. About to go ahead and get him out, but man, I just wanted to get y'all on here at the same time, man, because the last time I seen y'all in the same vicinity, I think it was a 2015-16 national championship in IMG.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last time, and then y'all split and went y'all separate ways. So, man, it's good to have both of y'all boys on here. While y'all at it, man, I just want to kind of hear both of y'all talk about the 7-on-7 experience that y'all had, man, when y'all won nationals. Because I mean, to win nationals and be the #1 team in a country, we haven't done that yet. We went to nationals this year and we struggled a little bit, placed top 12. But man, talk to us a little bit about nationals and that experience, man, because y'all was a different type of team. Type of team.
Right. I'll go first so I can get up out of here and you can keep it going with D. Man, so funny going into that, I was coming off of that labrum surgery in high school. And so for me, you know, I wasn't able to be with none of the boys for most of that tournaments up to nationals. That was my first national. That was my first tournament. But prior to that, man, I played freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And we would see, you kind of see this environment, this culture that Jalen and them had left us, right? You guys were always talking about, you know, we got to get to nationals. There's some dogs out there, them Florida boys, like this and that. And I think it was just this energy, you know, this kind of culture that we created in that class of 2016, man. We were just different, right? We wanted to compete. We knew what to expect. I think we got my first year, that freshman year, I think we ended up at 5th or 7th, and then we went to like 3rd, and then we ended up like 5th again, and then we won it. So we were so close every single time, but we was just like one little piece, and you know, we came together and we played system football. That was the biggest thing. Like there was no standouts. Like we had guys that like we're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Like, you know, nobody crazy was going too far. Everybody on those Florida teams, everybody's going D1, this and that, and there was no egos. That was the cool thing about it. We all played together. We all executed at a real high level, man, and we had a lot of fun. Those were the days, man. I missed them like crazy. That's when football, you know, you ain't got to worry about too much stuff. Football is just, hey, put some cleats on and just have some fun. So, that was definitely a good time, man. That was my experience, but definitely enjoyed every bit of it.
No, I appreciate it, man. And we're gonna go ahead and let you roll out. Let D get up on here. But man, go ahead, man, and go ahead and do what you got to do, man. Good luck in camp, and I think you're gonna be mighty fine when you get to camp because you've been prepared for so long, both the boys. So Mac, we appreciate you getting on, man, and we'll follow up with you.
Absolutely, Dre. I appreciate you having me. Hey, good seeing you, D. All right, please.
D. Eskridge in the building. The speed demon. Oh man, how's everything going?
Everything going well. Yeah, I'm just
the transition. What it's looking like for you?
It was different, you know. Every transition, especially from the one we talking about the 7-on-7, my transition then to college and then to now. You know, it's pretty much the same details. It's different types of loads, different types of things I gotta get done. So, you know, I feel like I'm in a good place, you know, ready to go set the tone.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of transition, a lot of people don't know that you were a running back in high school. And I'm gonna have to start a petition that the Eskridge. I mean, real talk, the Eskridge need a statue at Bluffton because the accomplishment that you had or accomplishments that you've had have been unlike. There's never been a player at Bluffton that has done what you have done, and really, there's not a lot of players that do what you do from that transition from running back to receiver, and then you go to college and you have a standout college career. Then you get a setback with COVID. Then you potentially not gonna play, then you play, second round draft pick. So I mean that's a hell of a journey, and it's probably deeper than that as well. So man, kind of talk to us a little bit more about your mindset, because I think a lot of people locally, they hear your name, but they're not really familiar with you, and you had to be around you to be familiar with the mindset that you have. A humble person, but just hungry. Like, where does the hunger come from, man? You got like Mike Tyson hunger when he was in his prime.
Oh yeah, I get that. I get a lot of that from my grandmother, my mother. Just how I was raised. Really, always. I think I can remember as far back as like second grade, me saying that I wanted to go to the NFL. And I always felt like I was doing something, even when I was in elementary school, feeling like I was doing something towards going to the NFL. So I always kept that passion. I always made circumstances way worse than what they needed to be in my head, just so I could, not get comfortable with anything good, anything green. I wanted it to be the worst of the worst at the time, just so I could, when I really tap into the good stuff, I'm there and I still have the same mindset that I had, so I always outworked everybody that I was around, and it was just little things, if guys coming to the house, to my apartments in college, I'm going to start rolling out, I'm going to start stretching just because I know you're not doing it. So I'm automatically getting a +1 on you. I'm bringing guys along, and I just always hungry. I know what I want, and I don't take no for an answer, especially with the things that I want. So, I just kept it going. I allow people
Go
to see
ahead.
what I want them to see. That's why a lot of people don't really know who I am unless it really just talking to me, really, because social media, I control it how I want to control it. I don't put everything on there that I don't want you to see much. I just want you to see the fruit, but you'll never know what a tree is, where I planted it.
Yeah. But talk to us again, because you said something that I've never heard anybody say. Like, I've never heard anybody say. And most people are uncomfortable when they are in the worst situation or a situation that may not be so favorable. And so you said, I always make situations worse than what they are so I can keep rolling. Man, what does that even mean? Because I think I know what you mean, but it's hard to even comprehend because most people don't want to be in difficult situations.
Yeah, I just feel like, especially at being that receiver and a lot of the positions that I played, I feel like you have to be one with adversity, because it's always present in football. Things are not going to go your way on more of a normal basis than things are going your way. So, I found that, I just started thinking a little bit different around my sophomore year when it came to how I was training and stuff. I wanted to have the worst look, go against the best person. I wanted to get beat. Even though I hate losing more than anything, but it's a lot of growth to, if you can be comfortable with, not necessarily comfortable with losing, but understand the getting better aspect of losing, I feel like it can go a long way. But a lot of people don't want to do that. It messes with your pride. It messes with my pride. It took me a while for me to actually understand that part. Because I would lose sometimes. Me being the competitor I am, I'm ready to go at somebody's neck soon as if you feel like you beat me, I'm coming right back.
Yeah.
So,
And you were all-state track runner too. So we know you ran a 4.3 at your pro day, but man, can you dive into your track days? Because man, you was blazing in high school, and you like, there's dudes who's fast, and then there's dudes who had a bounce when they fast. You got a bounce when you go. So how was that experience, and what was the decision like to know that, man, I really got a future in track, but then now I'm gonna taper down and just focus on football more so than anything?
yeah, I definitely love track. I thought I wanted to run track before I played football. I always loved football more than anything in this world. But me on the track, me being like a one-man team in a sense, just gotta outrun the person beside me, out jump the person beside me.
Yeah.
I felt like that fit my description. But it was, I set myself back in high school. I didn't have the grades. I wasn't focused on school as much. So a lot of track programs, they didn't really want to give me an opportunity just because of that. So I put that other chip on my shoulder, and I was just proving people wrong, proving myself right. But yeah, I definitely miss track. Those was the days, man. Running
Are
that
you gonna
stage.
do a DK Metcalf, or are you gonna try to come back and maybe you gonna try that out a little bit, see what
Oh
it's like? Or
yeah.
you
Oh yeah, I got to get back in the spikes. Long jump, 100, 200. I got to do one of them.
what was your 1 and 2? What was your 1 and 2?
My times.
Yeah, what was your times?
I believe the 200 was a 21.38, and then my 100 was a 10.50, and I believe my furthest long jump was like a 23.11 and a half, or right at 24. One of those.
So that speaks to your athleticism, but you're not a big, like a tall receiver. You play big, but you aren't in stature a big receiver. And so like because I want young or small receivers to know that look, it's possible. Don't even get caught up in the whole you gotta be 6'2", 6'3". Like, but there's a different type of approach and play you gotta have and be able to produce to even have a chance. And what does that even look like?
I mean, it starts with the mentality.
Mm-hmm.
In our room at Western, I was the alpha of the group. We called ourselves alphas, and we were all alphas in a sense. But I was the alpha of that room every year that I was in, other than my freshman year. 'Cause I wanted to allow myself to be able to learn how to be an alpha. From guys like Corey Davis, Carrington Thompson, Mike Henry. Some of the greats that have ever been through Western Michigan. So
Yeah.
I allowed myself to sit back, learn, and then once my time was to take that throne, then I took it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like it starts with the mindset. You gotta be able to know that the opponent across from you, he gonna win some, but at the end of the day, if you set the tone enough to where you blocking, you running your routes, you know what I'm saying, you even on the routes you're not getting the ball when you run them off, it's just
Yeah.
certain things, the mentality part, you gotta make your presence known, because as a small guy, you know that we're easy to get hands on, just because of our length. So you got to be very violent with your hands. You pretty much everything you do has to be violent, at the
Yeah.
receiver position, especially being a smaller guy. So I feel like if you do that, you keep on just, I think Marshawn Lynch said, when you keep on just hitting somebody in their mouth over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
eventually, it's either they gonna break or they gonna bring somebody else in, and you just keep on breaking the people that sit in front of you.
But you can't be scared to hit somebody in the mouth. I mean, if you're scared to
You
hit
can't.
somebody, so where does that come from you? I mean, when I first met you, which was you started training probably, I want to say maybe sophomore, junior year, somewhere around there. I don't
Yeah, it
know
was junior
exactly.
year.
Junior year.
Yep.
But when you started training, you already had this mindset, and it was like you had this silent confidence about yourself. You didn't care who it was. You weren't phased by the competition. Like, how do you even develop a mindset like that? Do you have to go through certain things in life? Do you just have to have a certain approach? Like, how did you get that mindset?
I just feel like with me personally, it wasn't like my upbringing wasn't easy. I faced a lot
Yeah.
of adversity with my family. And I always knew that I was the ticket. I was the one that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be able to change the Eskridge legacy. I was gonna be able to be the one that change certain things in our family, be able to see things different. So I embrace that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a window of opportunity when you're young. That it's kind of when your mind starts to mature. It's that window of opportunity. Are you gonna be present with those thoughts and actually be that person, or are you gonna get
Mm-hmm.
distracted by different things? That's very easy to get distracted by in high school, especially
Yeah.
being in Fort Wayne. It's a lot of distractions, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
street stuff, a lot of just everything. So I feel like if you take that window of opportunity and develop yourself more than anybody else can, work on yourself, because some of the things that within yourself that either needs improvement or that needs to be toned down. And,
Yep.
I was one of those persons that applied that. I wasn't taking no for an answer. I was going to college. I was gonna be I was gonna be, I said I was my one goal going into college was to not redshirt. and I wasn't gonna red shirt no matter what. If it was one play over or two plays over, I wasn't gonna have that red shirt tag.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just take things by the heart, really. You know, I take things personal, not necessarily confrontation type stuff, but like personable to me. I take it very personal. And then, you know, if I don't meet some of the requirements that I set forward, you know, then I'm failing myself, and don't nobody else care about that. You know, nobody's gonna care. You know, it's either
That's
you
true.
do it or you don't do it. You know, so I felt like just my awareness of myself, just setting forward more than just staying bound, staying stagnant. You know, I felt like that's what set me apart.
Yeah, and I remember when we were training, I think it was the summertime. You may have came back home, but you had already made a transition to a receiver, and I don't know how long or how soon you made the transition when you got to college, but you were transitioned to receiver. And I remember we were training, and I was watching you, and you were getting in and out of breaks, and you were so damn explosive. It was like, damn, how do I even fix these steps on this dude because he's moving so fast? But I remember saying that Tyreek Hill, like that was my comparison for you, but that was my comparison at that time because you were raw a little bit. Man, over the course of time, then your skill set has like got to a certain point where it's like Dwayne is like a legit receiver. He's not no one trick pony. He's not a dude that you just gonna get in there for a jet sweep. Like this dude can run every route in the route book. He gonna catch it solid. He gonna go get it. He gonna separate in and out of his breaks. He gonna get off the ball. Like that mindset to get to that point. I know you talk about just focusing and eliminate distractions, but man, that's a different adjustment, man, to go from being a running back and you a second round draft pick. I mean, let's talk about you being drafted, because that's what everybody want to do. Everybody want to be drafted at this point, but ain't nobody trying to figure out everything that happened in between to get to being drafted. So you made the transition. What was that experience or that feel like to be drafted and to know, look, man, I got drafted second round. I inherited a good lump sum of money, but now I got a team supporting me where I ain't about to throw this money out. I'm about to strategically put this money in this place, and now I'm taken care of for that. But that experience of getting drafted to even prolong that legacy a little bit further than what it was, what was that experience like?
Man, you know, it's pretty much undescribable. You know, it's like I've been asked a couple times, you know, how are you feeling, this and that. You know, just once I got the call, you know, it wasn't too high, wasn't too low. Obviously, I was full of joy, but it's like I've always known this was who I was. But at the same time, I was always aware of where I came from, because a lot of people don't know. Like coming into my junior year, you know, I started hearing the draft guys talking about me. The NFL, you know, they weren't high on me at all. You know, they was talking about a lot about 7 rounds to undrafted. And then after my injury, when I started playing defense, they were still pretty much talking about 7 round to undrafted.
Yeah.
So that whole year, you know, I just had my mindset as I'm gonna go out here and do the best that I can do everything that I need to do. I'll work every competition within the competition. You know, I'm outworking competition itself. And then everything else to handle itself. But I always had that 7th round to undrafted. So it took some of the pressure off, because at the end of the day, all I had to do was get into the NFL, and I knew everything else was gonna take its course. You know, and then I was very fine with going undrafted. You know, 7th round undrafted. I was fine with that. So it was a beautiful thing, man. You know, I had my family around me. My grandmother, she was there, made her soul rest. You know, she got to see that, and you know, it's something that I'll never forget. You know, but that isn't it. You know, everybody talks about making it to the NFL. I have a dream to go to the NFL. You know, that's a dream that's gonna crumble itself. You know, because getting to the NFL, that's, you know, even though it's a 1% get there, it's a big 1%. You know, but it's an even lesser percent of staying in the NFL. You know? So I feel like, you know, as I continue to go along in this journey, you know, goals change, everything change, and you know, I'm just using my resources, especially with Rise. You know, I'm building my family legacy. With them, you know, we got a lot of great things going on year 1, and you know, it's gonna be a game changer. You know, I feel like I'm doing everything in an orderly fashion, just learning from past people's mistakes. You know, that's another thing that I do. You know, like watching documentaries like Broke. You know, just I watched it. I watched it like freshman
Yeah.
year of high school, but it's still stuff in there that I remember. And you know, one of my
Mm-hmm.
goals this year is to really not buy one piece of jewelry. I don't even really like jewelry in the first place, but
Yeah.
you know, just setting certain goals like that to be able to set something up in the future, and then
Mm-hmm.
still just be hungry. You know, it's nothing like having a certain amount of money walking around like you broke. You know,
Yeah.
and that's you know, it brings a joy to me to be able to do that. You know, not having a
Mm-hmm.
car, I still haven't got my car. You know, it's coming, but you know,
Yeah.
it's just little things like that that allow me to you know kind of separate myself,
Mm-hmm.
because the average person is not going to understand that because everybody's so infatuated with the flashiness. Everybody's so
Yeah.
infatuated with certain things that don't really matter. And you know, I'm focused on the things of being the best me, finding peace, and just setting the tone in this football thing, like I've been
Mm-hmm.
continuing to do.
How's been the transition dealing with a leader like Russell Westbrook? I mean Russell Wilson, not Westbrook, but and you got one of the
Yeah.
best leaders in the league, if not the best leader in the league. Seems to be down to earth, but man, just positive and just talk about trying to be great. It seems like that's what he's trying to be every time he step on the field. How does that help you in your mentality of having the same?
Oh yeah, you know it. The first day that I met Russ in person, it was like it wasn't necessarily like because I've known Russell Wilson. You know, obviously I've seen him play and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really just you know more of a moment of just it was just us greeting. But then when I
Yeah.
saw him get on the field and how he handles his business, I'm like, this dude is acting like he's a year one player, you know, and he's
Mm-hmm.
however many years he's been in the league. And it's crazy because I feed off of that energy. You know, I'm seeing
Yeah.
how he's doing things in whatever year he's in right now, and I'm trying to do those things year one. You know, I'm trying to lock in how he's locking in. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
this team is full of leaders, and you know I'm a leader, so I'm gonna find my
Mm-hmm.
way in there to be able to set the tone wherever I need to set the tone in a different type of way. You know, so I feel like you know, like I told you the other day, if I don't end up being a great in this game one day, I didn't give a damn. You know, it was it was a choice of me
Yeah.
not wanting to apply what I've been learning from the greats like Pete Carroll,
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson, you know, DK, you know, all those and those are just a few of the many that are on that team.
Mm-hmm. Pete Carroll, a lot of people here, you know, players coach, and
Yeah.
he seemed like he had a lot of fun on the sideline, just in the organization. But evidently, or obviously, when somebody has success like he has, there has to be a degree of strict and discipline that he still presents to the team. So, how's your experience been? Just being around a coach like that. I mean, really a Hall of Fame coach. You know, whether it's at the collegiate level, potentially at the NFL level, like you seem to be in a hell of a position when you got your surrounding and supporting cast.
Oh yeah, it's really amazing. You know, I have no experience with any other NFL team, but I know the way things are handled at the Seahawks facilities. You know, it's different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a love in the air. You know, you go in that building and what they tell you they're doing, you feel that before they get the opportunity to be able to tell you that. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
they are action before words by any means. And it's just you know it makes it easier to be great even though I want to be great already. You know, it makes it easy to be able to go to work knowing that I don't have to look over my shoulder because of this or that, because of some of the political things that go on in this game
Yeah.
of football. You know, so it allows me to be able to set my trail and keep on going. You know, keep on embarking on that trail. You know, because of the
What,
great coaching step that I have.
Absolutely. What type of legacy are you trying to leave? I know we talked to Mack about, Mack after year one did the Mack Fest, it was successful. He really just wants to give back to the community without giving too much in depth or insight. Like, what does that legacy look like for D. Eskridge? Because your story in itself, up until this point, is a hell of a story that many people will be inspired by. They'll be fueled by. But what do you want that legacy to be, moving forward, like, beyond just where you are right now?
Yeah, it's definitely giving back. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
I've always had some type of love just for the communities within myself. You know, wherever
Mm-hmm.
I've been, my community in Mississippi, my community in Indiana. You know, I've always just been based on giving something back so that, you know,
Yeah.
some type of kids, I know I can't help everybody, but a certain amount of kids to be able to live in a different way, live a path of not necessarily having to fail before you reach success, you know, but learning certain tools to accelerate yourself to that success, you know. So a lot of enrichment when it comes to the community, you know, just allowing kids to be kids in this crazy world, you know. So I'm definitely following the lines of Austin, Jay, you know, and just
Mm-hmm.
building a legacy within myself. You know, it's much more than a green piece of paper. You know, it's kind of about what you know, are you gonna give some form of peace into this world? You know, so
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely the type of time that I'm on.
No, absolutely. Man, what is it about your game that people can be excited about? I mean, you got number one. That's your actual number, right? Number one.
Yeah.
Now you know that's the number that everybody pick on a video game is number one. And now that they may allow skill players to do it, you got it. So what is the thing about your game, man, that you can day in and day out you can guarantee? Because we got some Seahawk fans in the organization. We got a young man named Drew Dahlberg. He got a Seahawks jersey. He loved the Seahawks. Um, I think he's a little bit familiar with you. But for him to actually go through the same organization as now a former or current Seahawk, what can he expect from you? Because I'm gonna give him a hard time, man, when it comes to you and the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, man, it's just dynamic. You know, I'm a person that
Mm-hmm.
can do multiple things at a high level. So a lot of explosiveness, a lot of physicality, playing like a grown man at a year one. You know, so you know, I just like I said earlier, I set the tone. No matter where I'm at, you know, I find my way, figure out how to get things done that I need to get done, and set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
even
absolutely, absolutely. How was the and last question before we allow you to get off? But um, man, your the transition when you went to college and having a coach who can really be on you. You had Coach Harbaugh on you, and when I look at your development over the course of year one and year two, all the way to your last year, Harbaugh, man, you trust in what he did allowed you to develop to the capacity that you did. So talk to players who have to make transitions and just trusting in the process and knowing that you have a solid coach to get you to that point. How critical are coaches for players from your perspective?
Yeah, it's very critical. I feel like that's another reason that I am who I am, because when I
Mm-hmm.
first got to college, you know, I'm thinking I'm about to go to the Mack championship 4 straight times. Even though we won it the first year, but when that
Yeah.
coaching staff left, you know, it kind of made things, like I talked about, making things the worst within myself. Well, I didn't get an opportunity to do that. You know, things got worse because of circumstances, because of how things work in college. You know, things that we can't control. You know, so a lot of the things that they taught me my freshman year, I still got my man manual. It's like this thick, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's still stuff in there that I read to this day. You know, I kept thinking about those things, and then the coaching staff that we had after they left, you know, I listened to them. You know, applied what I felt applied to me and kept applying it. But I always
Mm-hmm.
was in constant thought of the coaches that I had before. You know, so it was a lot of ups and a lot of downs, a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
downs, and I felt like it made it sweeter. So when Coach Harbaugh came back, you know, I was at a point to where, you know, I know necessarily it can't be two big mega alphas in the room, you know. So I was the leader. I was his alpha's leader. You know, I was the leader of the
Mm-hmm.
room, and then whatever he preached, you know, I was the one that actually put that into, you know, dug deep and put that into the guys' mindsets, you
Yeah.
know, about how we practice, about how we finish, you know, everything that he preached, you know, I lived it so the young guys can know that this is real. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I feel like it's very important to have a coach that you can trust. You know, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be in your room, you know,
Yeah.
because I was really close with Coach Bath, and he was the running backs coach, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't play running back anymore. So, you know, we built some form of relationship to where he kind of understood who I was, so he could, certain things that would apply to me, he would be able to bear that to me. You know, he would be able to bring that to me in a manner where it was helping me more than anything else. You know, so I feel like, you know, it doesn't matter who it is, but always find somebody that you can trust and get things out of your head, because, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
as athletes, you know, the things
Yeah.
we do on a daily basis is very easy to forget about life outside of football. you know, because we're in a constant grind, we're in a constant school, we're in a constant workout, we're in a constant eating, trying to hydrate, do all these things, and we forget about life, you know. But the things that we don't talk about, you know, the things we don't face, you know, it becomes something within you, you know.
Absolutely.
And depending on what type of person you are, it comes out. You know, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be depression, you know. And as an athlete, those are roadblocks that will only hurt our game, you know. So so if there's any advice that I can give, you know, especially coming from a person like me, because I'm pretty closed up, you know. I got a lot of people that I trust, but you know, it took time to get there. It took time to get there. But you know, even coming from me, talk about certain things, man. Talk about those hard conversations that you don't want to talk to anybody about, because just you hearing it will give you a different perspective. You'll realize some things by you hearing yourself talk, you know, and then allowing yourself to be heard by someone else. You know, it does something different within us. So that would be the advice that I would have for any young boy that's on embarking on this trail.
Absolutely. And to correct you, you said you ain't gonna buy a piece of jewelry this year. Well, my challenge is that, man, from what I hear, you got a solid rock beside your side. So you may be buying a piece of jewelry, you know, sometime soon.
I said I'm not gonna buy any jewelry for myself. I said it like that.
No, cool, man. We appreciate it, man. The best of luck, man. We look forward to seeing you dominate, do well, man. And you know, I don't pick teams. I'm more of a player type of dude. But I'm gonna be with the Seahawks. I'm gonna be with the Cowboys, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Giants. Like I'm gonna be the LA Rams. So those are my teams. So I got a good chance of one of them teams getting to the Super Bowl or something. So
that's a good bucket right there.
So good luck, man. We appreciate you, man, and we look forward to getting you on in the future and watching you do great things.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, D. You have a good one.
All right, you as well.
So here we had both Austin and Eskridge on live, just kind of talking about their journey briefly. Man, the reality of it is that, man, for me, it's a joy to see both of them get on live because when I first started training, these were two athletes that were involved with training for me and their development. So to kind of come into training with the mindset that I want to help as many athletes as possible, you know, get to the highest of levels, whether that be college, whether that be as great as you possibly can on your high school level, or whether that be the pros. To see these two has been tremendous for me, and I'm just thankful that I got to be a part of their journey. So, really, when it comes down to it, you got two solid dudes who just happen to play the game at a high level. So they're better people than they are actual athletes. And one of the things that I'm passionate about is giving athletes an opportunity to really cultivate themselves, develop themselves through the game. And whether that game be football, basketball, soccer, hockey, whatever sport that is, I just want to make sure that I can help them cultivate themselves. And so for me, the human development piece is critical. It's key in everything. Self-improvement is everything. So on the bottom of the screen, I want you to be able to text the separation at 260-217-4881. And really my whole thing, like you see at the bottom of the screen, is to utilize the athletic performance to impact, you know, people, circumstances, situations beyond the game. That's really what it comes down to. Sports is plan B, impacting the world is plan A. So we definitely look forward to getting back on here. We got some more guests that'll be coming up here in the next few weeks, some pro athletes as well. So I definitely, you know, appreciate all those who tuned in. And next time, share, because I want to make sure that as many people can get to know who these athletes are beyond the game, because not too often can we learn who these athletes are beyond the game. Too many times we see them in the helmet on a court and we assume who they are. And so we want them to be able to speak on who they are to the people and give them an opportunity to really, you know, push out the narrative of who they are, the character, their journey, their experiences, and what they want to do with their life and the platform. So momentum beyond the game, that's what we're about. That's what we're going after.
I want to see the picture of you doing what? Sweat. You feel me? I'm like, he working out. right? Not the picture of, hey, I worked out today, right? And so what we're able to do at the end of the week, we're able to see how many times we worked out, whatever our goal was, we're able to measure it. And it was crazy. CJ walked in today.